So just before we begin, I'd just like to give an acknowledgement of country. Jingiwala Goodies, hello everybody. Nyani Nai Evelyn, Na Nyani Bamindagan, Muyangingi, Nyanya Barambayangan, Gel Nyanya Bamyandi, Nyanya Nati Jimangan, Gam Goodies Banjalang Nuye, Mulitani Jagan. My name is Evelyn. I was also named Water Lily by my elders, and that's my spirit. My skin is black snake, and those people are Bunjalang language from hill and saltwater land. Nyali walu dana de eora jagan, gadago nuye, gan yogian yingi guri, jagan mubang, eora nandan jingi, guna jagan dago ni. We're standing on Eora country, Gadigal language, sandstone and saltwater people. This is an old country, and Eora have looked after this country forever. Nyayua gingu Gadigal Badaram Dugan Balan Banba. I pay respect to Gadigal dreaming, from the mountains to the rivers to the sea. Nayoraga Nyai Nai Ginwanga Bumilela Guris Nandan Jindi Jagan. I pay my respect to Eora and to your warriors who protect this country. Nai Gadigogo Nai Dan Gurigan. I honour Gadigal, and I am sorry for what the ghosts have done to your bones. Nai Eoraga Nyaliwalu Walu Jogan Wayan. I honour you, Eora. We share story and songline. Nai Eoraga Walu Yalbi Numba Wajam Gija Badaram Nyandan Jandan Gali. I honour you, Eora, you who have sung home the humpback. This is the wail of our dreaming. Mbugawan Nyaliwalu Yagambe Gubali Walu Eora. Be good and do not forget Eora. So I'm just going to read a couple of poems that are in response to various readings that I've come across in my own research, and these are just sort of poetic reflections, or they are just comments that feel appropriate when positioned next to these pieces of theory. So first I'd like to begin with an essay by Marley Arvin, Eve Tuck, and G. Morrill called Decolonizing Feminism. So, reviewing a diverse array of works by Indigenous feminists, their essay presents 5 key concerns that they argue need to be addressed, both in what they call white stream feminism and in anti-racist and transnational feminisms that seek to engage Indigenous feminist stakes. They are as follows. 1. Problematise and theorise the intersections of settler colonialism, heteropatriarchy and heteropaternalism. 2. Refuse the erasure of Indigenous women within gender and women's studies and reconsider the endgame of only inclusion. 3. Actively seek alliances in which relationships to settler colonialism are acknowledged as issues that are critical to social justice and political work. 4. Recognise the persistence of Indigenous concept and epistemologies, or ways of knowing. And 5. Question how the discursive and material practices of gender and women's studies and the academy writ large may participate in the dispossession of Indigenous peoples' lands, livelihoods and futures, and divest from these practices. So the poem that I've written in response is called Gangai, which in Bunjalang means black snake, which is my father's skin. Hold still, hold silence, hold yourself into calm and quiet. There is time and place, but you must shed it from this time, this place. Find the songline. Take totem, take name, take your shards of language, wear them like dead skin, wander homeless through hill and salt water. Shed what you let claim you, shed and uncoil. There is nowhere the empire cannot touch if you drag it behind you like Odysseus. You were told to listen. You were told to wait. You were told to sink into revelation and trust that you were guarded. There now, are you done with shaking? Have you finished clawing limbless, grasping for white word signpost, to tree, to hollow, to clearing, soft earth, to hear where the world is quiet in a world where nothing is quiet? Put everything away. Sink within what you cannot trace. Hold and be held here. You are not too far gone for this. So the next poem that I want to read is in response to the introduction to the most recent issue of Plumwood Mountain, which is a literary journal. And this issue was called Decolonizing and Geopolitics. In this issue of Plumwood Mountain, Decolonization and Geopolitics, I have curated a group of works that feel sympathetic to the vision of a decolonised Australia, a place where settler and Indigenous cultures have begun to find an existential common ground that is beyond post-colonial. What does it look like? Here, the question is contemplated solely by non-Indigenous writers. Decolonisation can be shared by everyone, not least the hegemony, for everyone needs to take responsibility for imagining their own unique kind of transformation. In poetry and poetics, we have to think about how non-Indigenous form, Western form, romantic form, lyrical form, white form, have a responsibility to current and future cultural conditions. The poets in this issue have already confronted that responsibility, and to make poetry that senses and ideates the textures and vectors of an emerging decolonised consciousness in non-Indigenous writing. So the poem that I wrote in response to that is called The Poetics of Decoloniality Offer White People. When my body is mine, I will tell them with my belly and bones, do not touch the D, but this will be up to me, to us and to we and to he and to she. When I own my tongue, I will sing with throat and finger, go back where you came from, for I will be back where I came from. When I am auntie, I will say, Jarjams, look what I made for you. Look what I carved from the earth to clean and to heal, so you may have a place. And when I am dead, they will not say my name. After this, you may have poems. The next section I'm going to read comes from the work of Eileen Morton Robinson, who is an incredible Aboriginal feminist and academic, and her work has been incredibly important for my own work in literature. And this is from an essay called Towards an Australian Indigenous Women's Standpoint Theory from the Journal of Australian Feminist Studies. While I acknowledge my debt to feminist standpoint theory, my work is also informed by the scholarship of Indigenous researchers. A common thread throughout this work is that Australian Indigenous research paradigms are founded on a construction of humanness that is predicated on the body's connectedness to our respective countries, human ancestors, creative beings, and all living things. I use the term country here to mean not only the tracts of land to which we are inextricably tied by. It is also the term used to denote Indigenous people who have bloodlines to that country through the creator and ancestral birth. This interconnectedness is the basis of Indigenous sovereignty, which informs our standpoint as embodied, socio-cultural, and historically situated subjects of knowledge. So this theory is really important to me, but it's actually very overwhelming as an Aboriginal person, as an Indigenous person that is facing dispossession and dislocation. So my response to that is very complicated, and in a poetic form, it's called Bury Your Own. I ask him who I am. He tells me, black snake and water lily, I knew you when you were only hope. I ask him for a name. He tells me of the songline that bore a man from Barayugal, and that the rest is shadow and ghost. I ask him who is left. He says, you are left. He says, let this be enough, that knowing is given, not taken, and you have always been known. I ask him, what if I am not enough? What if I must spend my always clawing for every inch of black, contouring country into my skin, draped in flag and feather? What if I am not all my ancestors wanted? He tells me, have I not shown you this place? Have you not spoken with this earth? Are you not daughter of everything I lost to give you? Are you not mine, and theirs, and yours, and all that was ever wanted? So the last poem that I'm going to read, I did not actually originally write in response to any particular kind of theory. I wrote it in response to place, to language, to people. And it's probably, I think it's been said that it's probably one of the nicest ways that you can approach what's really a very difficult issue that I face in my identity of mixed ancestry, but also in my interactions with people who do descend from settler colonial culture. So I'm just going to read a short excerpt from an essay by David Brooks from a volume called Diasporic Identities and Empire. And this section is called Lionel Fogarty and a Note on the Indigenous. Living all one's life in a country, a landscape or a set of landscapes, camping in them, walking through them, growing up with their sounds, their smells, having no other place so intimately available to one, no other place where one wants so much to be, knowing this is home and yet know also, accepting intellectually as one must that it is also an invaded place, and that one is a descendant of those invaders, or that one has been invited, accepted, dispossessed, or, since one did not possess by right in the first place, is in a state of not possessing. But I mean something other or more specific than that. I'm thinking about writing, or in other ways representing this state of being. Or rather, since this state itself is not so difficult to represent, of representing one's feelings about, one's relationship to that place, that landscape which one loves, which has shaped one, and which one wants to, has no choice but to call home, and yet which one cannot claim. So the poem that I'm going to read in response to this is called Learning Bunjalong on Tharawal. Above his desk it is written, I wish I knew the names of all the birds. I know this room through tessellation of leaf and branch, Waranbil and Jarangi, in the shade of a Kalsepsi, Cherokee honey locust, a flowering tree. I am relearning these hills and salt waters and all the places wrapped around this room. We both have Dagaral here, lovers, fathers, friends, conquerors, and ghosts. But here in this new and ancient place, I ask him to name the song that sweeps through this mosaic. Sometimes it is wattlebird, sometimes it is Currawong. When we drive, he tells me king parrot, fairy wren, black cockatoo. And I know Jalwan and Bilinbilin and Yara, but the rest are just Nanganibil. The rest are just bird. It is hard to unlearn a language, to unspeak the empire, to teach my voice to rise and fall like landscape, a topographic intonation. So in this place, the shape of my place, I am trying to sing like hill and salt water, to use old words from an old country that I have never walked on, Banjalan Jagan Nagai, Nyandawal Noyaya, and God, I don't even know if I'm saying it right. But I watch the bark twist, grey and slate, and vanilla and vermilion. He tells me this is ribbon gum. So I find 5 words for this bark, and I promise I will learn them all. Because to hold him is to hold the tree, that holds these birds I cannot name, and a word spoken here might almost sound like home. We are relearning this place through poetry. I open my book and say, Oian. Here is a word which means road, but also root, and in it I am rooted, earthed, singing between two lands. I learned that Balin is both river and Milky Way, and that he is Baregir, the youngest child and the top of the tree, where the Gar will come to rest, to call its own name across the canopy long after his word for it is gone. Thank you.